I hit it. All right. Okay, folks. My apologies. This is the second time I got beat by the technology, but at least we're going.
Well, the good news is it's
Okay.
working, Joe. The good news is it's working.
Thank you. Thank you. So, do you think that I should disclose the technical problem that has sabotaged the last 2 weekend live streams? Or should I just, I'm at the mercy of software. In case anybody wants to know why we could not get sound last weekend.
Yeah.
And we could not get sound this morning. There's this dialogue volume window specifically for the microphone that's being used, not for the system, and it's not on these, there's all these things can get muted. So there's this one dialogue for this one webcam that's in Windows, and Windows just decides to mute it. And I can't find that dialogue. So I finally went through, I opened up my.
So long story short is, if there are any television producers out there that want to invest in an up and coming show, finance it with some capital, put some
come on, help me out. Yeah.
To run the IT.
You know how you get frustrated when there's hidden fees? You think that you've got all your bases covered on some kind of a payment plan. Then there's hidden fees you get dinged with. There's hidden mutes. There's hidden mute buttons in the system, and Windows just shoots curveballs out. Anyway,
hey, there's an opportunity there for some television producer to swoop in and pick you up, Joe.
That'd be fantastic.
The good news is working. It's working now.
It's working. We got something.
We got everybody together in the same room, and we can hear each other. So
that's good. Let's stop complaining about the way things are. Thank you, everybody, for your patience. Really appreciate it. Really appreciate your patience. I'm honored that you would, give your time at the risk of it being completely wasted again. Really, I'm honored by that. I'm glad you're here. I got my paint stuff ready. I was focusing
there's a little drama. There's good drama. And is Joe going to get the live?
Is it going to happen? Yeah, that's cool. I literally said to my brother as we were talking, and I said, I'm ready to give up doing live streams forever. I'm tired of being embarrassed by it not working it good. And then I saw the button. So the live streams have been saved for now. Okay, all I'm doing is getting a paintbrush. Give me a minute. That's my canary right there.
Yeah, we got a canary on.
Okay, sorry. I was focused on the technical stuff. I forgot. We do need paintbrushes to paint as much as I would like to do finger painting. All right, we're not painting a canary today. I just wanted to show you what you missed, the excitement from last live stream when it failed on Saturday morning. We started it up again Saturday afternoon and ended up painting a canary. That was Jonathan's fantastic idea. I'm going to paint over this. I don't like this painting. It's fun. I mean, I like it in some ways. I don't hate the painting. I don't like it enough to keep it. That's all. So we're going to kiss the canary goodbye. Do something more fun.
Kiss the canary.
Kiss it goodbye.
Kiss the canary.
Yeah, this is a good exercise in letting go. There's a part of you that's like, well, wait, if I just adjusted a few things, this might be a really nice picture. I don't really think that about this one. I don't have need for a yellow bird anywhere, but
I feel like letting go is not phrased accurately.
Okay.
When you're thinking about letting go of this situation or this canary, you're thinking about, all right, I have a grip on it and I need to let it go.
Yeah.
Right. You're conceiving of it in this way. I'm holding it and I'm controlling it, but it's not going well. And so I need to let it go and send it on its way.
How are you reframing?
But I don't think that's accurate as to the situation.
Okay.
I think more what's happening is circumstances are like flying all around us. and water is flowing all around us, maybe is a better way to think of it. You're like in this stream of circumstances and
I need to
life.
paint some
Just-
water.
And so you don't let go of the water that flows past and around you and down along its way.
Yeah.
You know? And,
So-
you never controlled it.
You never
So
controlled
the-
it. So what do you say? What's the correction for the way you're framing the idea?
I think the need to be at peace with things you can't control is very important, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
But to conceive of it as holding on to it and then deciding to let it go is not
Yeah.
accurate. And so I think a better way to consider it is you're letting go of your expectation for how you thought it was going to go. You're not letting go of control of the thing. You never really controlled the thing.
You never
didn't
really controlled it.
the
Yeah.
flow of the water. You didn't
Yeah.
control this live stream, you know. You didn't
Okay.
control that painting. You just kind of were like flowing with it, and then at some point you decide to let it continue on its way. Like,
Yeah.
it's just easier to let go for me if I don't think that I had control in the first place.
Yeah.
You know,
Okay.
if I
Okay.
think I'm,
But you're
like
still
if you
using
lose-
the word
if you
letting.
lose somebody, right? You
Yeah.
like you're grieving and you're trying to let somebody go, right? Just take it to an extreme, right?
All right. All right. Yeah.
Instead of
Terrible,
losing a
tragic loss.
painting,
Yeah.
instead of losing a painting or a live stream opportunity, say you lose a person.
Heartbreaking loss.
It's going to be
Yeah.
harder to let go if you think that you ever held them around to begin with. And you're going to deal with a lot of feelings of like guilt and failure if you think that you held on to that in any way and kept it because of that. This is actual real thing I had to learn in life,
Yeah.
which is you weren't keeping it by this quote unquote holding on. You were only holding yourself in place while the thing continued on past.
I got to take that in for a minute. I got to think about the philosophy there. But I think I understand your point. You know,
I'm saying here's the nutshell. You don't move on and let go by actually letting a thing go on without you. You move on and let go by allowing yourself to be changed. That's the point.
allowing yourself to be. Yeah. All right. Change. But okay. So I did
Like
hear
you
you.
need to change your expectations. You need to adjust what you thought you were going to get done this morning,
Yeah.
right? That's how you let go.
It's not going to be a live stream. Right. Right. I hear you. Well, okay. So you are, but
It's
you are
it's
letting.
harder to let go and move on if you don't understand that you never really controlled it in the first place. That's the point.
Yeah. So then you're not saying that people are misusing the phrase. You're not saying that people shouldn't use the phrase "let it go." You're saying maybe you think it's commonly framed in a way that's not helpful. What the meaning of it.
I'm suggesting we need to reconceive of what is being let go of and by whom, you know.
Yeah, let it go.
Like
Yeah,
it seems to me like we're flowing down this white water of life, right? And you don't let go of the water that is flowing and around and smashing into you. You don't. It's just flowing,
it's flowing.
you know. And you can
Okay.
dam it up and you can cup it in your hands and you can make shapes out of it and you can throw it at people, right? You can have all kinds of fun in the water.
Yeah,
But
right.
when you're quote unquote letting go, it's not you releasing the water, you know. It's
Yeah.
you accepting that the water will flow even if you don't want it to.
Yeah,
You know, it's letting go
But-
is letting go of expectation and misconception of how things work. That's kind of how I understand letting go.
I see. Stop trying to just let go of trying to do what should not be done. You know, is that kind
Well,
of
like
like
if you want to move on from this bird, you know,
yeah.
whatever. We're beating a dead horse. Nobody cares. How you guys doing out there?
Let it go, man. Just
Yeah,
let it go.
I'm gonna let it go. I'm gonna let it go.
Some things
Yeah.
are better felt than explained. Okay.
I never had control of it in the first place, and those waters have flowed right on down the hill.
Yeah, that's good. That's
You
good.
see how easy it is to let go? I just realized.
Just let it go, man. It just doesn't matter. It just doesn't
That's
matter.
it.
I was struggling. I've been struggling lately with being pretty obsessed with tasks. So it's not off subject. It's not off subject.
Well,
That
just
is
loving a thing and caring about a thing does not make the thing stay. You know?
I have the hardest time. For me, like if I put it in my context, I'm just sharing my own struggles. You know, I really have a hard time letting myself be unfinished with something I want to accomplish. Being okay. So when it gets to the point that I'm experiencing exhaustion, my performance has gone down, and it's time to spend some quality time with my family. You know, I got my 10-year-old that needs some attention. You know, just life stuff that needs attention. But I don't want to do that. I want to give all my attention to that one goal until it's finished. I want to do it till it's finished, because I don't want to go to bed tonight having it not done. That sounds bad. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's a real struggle for me. I really struggle with that one. It's frustrating.
Yeah. Well, that's what passionate people do, Joe. They struggle.
That's it. Yeah. Well, you know, I'm just saying I relate. I was
think about the alternative, a life of apathy. Imagine like if you didn't care a lot about things.
Yeah, you know, I feel like I've tried that a bit as a teenager. You know, I think I tried that. What do you think?
It's a bummer. It's a major bummer.
I don't want to work.
You know, it turns out you need to care about life in order to do it. You know.
Yeah, that is actually
the trick. That's the trick. You don't care about it, you're gonna have a hard time doing it.
Yeah. I'm experimenting with some different color schemes on this water. I don't know what I want to do. I just know that, you know, we're talking about letting things go and letting things flow, like water's metaphorical.
Yeah. Well, you know, you're giving Jonathan a bad morning because he's like, oh, you're just deleting the canary. We're letting the canary go. Yeah, Jonathan, that's what we're talking about, man.
Yeah, I gotta let it go. It's not beautiful.
Went away.
Not, I don't.
Yeah, and Tom, yeah, dude, heavy philosophy. Sorry, bro. I am on my second cup of coffee, so I wouldn't blame you for having one as well.
Yeah.
I've been told I can be difficult to be around sometimes.
Yeah, you know? But that's okay, because we're not taking it seriously. We're just pretending on this live stream like it is serious, but it's all a game. We're just.
That's true. As soon as this live stream is over, if you ask me like, hey man, what are your thoughts on letting go? I'll be like, I don't care.
I don't want to talk about it. It's just something to talk about. It's fun to beat around. You know, for a philosophical mind, talking about philosophy can, you know, it can come across as super serious, but for the person that just enjoys the game, it's like a chess game. You know, you're like, yeah, because acting serious is how we play the game. Doesn't mean it truly is serious. It's just like that's part of the fun. It's like to get your game face on and get in it. You know, that's kind of how I feel about philosophical talk. Just like
I got bad signal issues, man. I imagine I don't sound great right now.
Sounds all right on my end. I don't think it's terrible. It's pretty good. I'm using a little bit of purple on this reflection because, you know, this keeps things from turning overly green. I'm trying to get this to look like it's flowing water toward me. And the way I'm attempting to make this flow toward me is by making paths of ripples that slant down toward the middle instead of up toward the middle. So see this? If I do that, and it's really just ever so slight, you can just do this very slightly and get, because perspective makes things feel like they're more tilted. You know, if you get some good believable perspective going, a little bit of tilt means a lot of distance change. So that's what I'm trying to accomplish as you see me painting over this. You know, I'm intentionally manipulating, kind of like you got a piece of clay in your hand and you're trying to make it look like some. I'm using the patterns I'm familiar with to try to sculpt the flow of this water, but I like to take the guesswork out of things. I want to take the guesswork out, and so I don't want to guess how to make the water flow. I'm tilting the ripples. That's what I'm doing. So if you do it the other way, yeah, I definitely hear the tinkering. This is kind of like one of those cartoons where the character disappears off screen. It's like, oh, Ben went to go get something. We're going to hear a bunch of clashes and stuff getting thrown out of a box. All right, let's paint something else in this scene. We've got a gentle flowing stream. Now I'm going to bring something out of the water. Let's put, I'm kind of feeling like an embankment here would be cool. I'll zoom in a little bit to give you a little closer look at what I'm painting. Sorry, I got my camera kind of far out, don't I? Here, we'll give you a better look at what I'm doing. All right. We're going to put an embankment here like this. We're going to make this flowing around something. Let's put.
All right, I figured it out.
Oh, life finally
Figured it out. Hey, you know what's really fun for people to do on a Saturday morning? They were probably just itching last night to get out of bed because they're like, oh, I can't wait to watch Ben and Joe struggle with technology here in a few hours.
Yeah. Right. You know,
Awesome.
if you were just in the mood for trolling, you could go and just troll the heck out of us while we're struggling and insult what we're doing. But we have a very polite, good sport crowd. You know, people aren't like that in this group.
Yeah. Well, you could also tell us how bad we are at this, but I think we already know.
Yeah, it's like, yeah, we're not, and there's a saying I like. I was thinking, you know, humility saves you from a lot of discomfort or shame. Humility is like a really good attribute for saving you some trouble because it doesn't set you up for such failure. You know, like pride before fall, the old adage, pride before fall. If you start thinking you're all that, and then it's humble pie doesn't like feel amazing. So my point is, there's an old saying, hunger is the best sauce. That's one of my favorite ones of all time, especially to use on my kids. Sauce. Yeah, especially when they don't like the food I've made. You know, it's kind of like if you're hungry enough, anything tastes amazing because it's food.
Yeah.
The main need is food. I love it. I love that saying. Hunger is the best sauce. Well, and I was thinking there should be a saying that's like the equivalent for humility. Humility is something you add, but I can't come up with it. I can't think of it.
There's also this, you know, I've been reading this book that I've talked about a little bit, and it's about creativity and, you know, making work that connects with an audience or with yourself. And so, one of the more interesting things that's sticking out to me is that, you know, it's good to make work from your insecurities because people will see you being real about it, and then they will connect with that in themselves. And so if we put on this live stream and it was like polished and slick, and you came out here like, you know, Bob Ross with your 3 camera coverage and perfect audio, and it rolled on time, and there were commercials, and there were products available for purchase.
I like what you're describing so far.
Yeah, well, you need a manager if that's going to happen. But
no, I don't like the part where we sell things. That's the part. Anyway, what are you getting to?
The point is that people would not necessarily have the experience they're perhaps having now, which is, oh, look, Joe's really good at this, but he's really struggling. And, you know, Ben, he seems to like talk a lot about a lot of things that he may think he's smart about, but Look at him being
He's a kid, yeah.
insecure about
Yeah.
his feelings and place in the world. You know, like
Yeah. So,
you and I suck at a lot of things.
that's true.
You know, we're insecure about a lot of things.
That's
Like
true.
we're talking about how embarrassing it is to try and get this freaking thing launched on a Saturday and failing. You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
I think it's good to reveal our
struggle.
insecurities.
Yeah. Yeah. I think in the long term, it's good. Yeah.
I think it's useful. I think it's useful to
Yeah.
others to see.
Yeah. I agree with that. Yeah.
Insecurities being represented honestly in others. You know?
Yeah. That's a tough line. That's a tough balance, you know, because you want to be great. You want to be awesome. Like you have your ego, and that, like, I think everybody's got one, and I can't pretend I don't. I don't want to look like I don't know how to do stuff. That doesn't sound nice. You know, I want.
Yeah.
You know, I would rather be the definitely.
Well, we know we're helpless. We know we're helpless, right? We didn't choose to be here, and we're not going to choose. Probably, we're not going to choose when it's over.
Yeah.
You know.
I feel like we're letting
we
go
know
of
we're
our
helpless.
We're letting go of our egos right now. That's what we're letting go of. Letting go of our.
Yeah, get rid of that freaking canary, man. Get rid of that bird.
Black, just black over you. I see a yellow bird and I want to paint it black. That's it.
So, you know, here's to failure, you know?
Yeah, it's not so bad. It's not so bad. You know, there's so many people in the world that just don't even get a pass at it. You know what I mean? Like this, it's cool that we actually got to take a shot. I mean, that right there is pretty great.
Well, if you're cool with being a failure, you know what comes with it?
No.
Every once in a while it works.
Hey, nice. I like that one. That's good. That's a good way to see it. Yeah. You know what that is, Ben? That is the 50-50 odds blackjack game. Whenever the house switches the odds, you know, sometimes they'll put things in favor. So like you have a 50-50 chance of win. So you double your bet on every bet. If you lose a 50-50 bet, you just double the next one, because the odds are, when you've done enough bets, sorry, I think with my hands, it has nothing to do with the painting. You know what I'm saying? If you just keep on doubling it, then the odds are you're going to double your money and profit. And so if you really want success, just increase your failure rate. Is the point. That's the point we're getting at. Just fail a lot.
Well, you know, it's if you think highly of yourself, you know, as a vessel for creativity, you know.
Yeah.
Then you are perhaps setting yourself up for disappointment when the source of that creativity stops.
Yeah.
And so it's helpful to understand how the thing is actually working. So, you know.
Yeah. Remember how defeated we used to be? Here's a funny memory. Do you remember how defeated we were when we would do a concert, when we were in a band? And most of the time it didn't go the way we wanted it to. And do you remember how frequently we hung our heads down when the show was over?
Yeah, life was over.
It was like a lifestyle of like
incredible crushing disappointment.
It was.
Like,
it was so
go into
big.
a corner and cry about the condition of my life. Disappointment.
We didn't. Yeah, I remember that happened so many times. It was like something's got to give. We can't just keep doing this.
Yeah.
Yeah. Funny. Now it's just funny, but it was so serious back then. It was just such a serious thing. I remember.
Yeah. Well, I'm pretty good at taking things seriously, Joe. I've learned this.
Yeah, that's true. You're good at things. But you know, that's a good character trait when somebody comes to you, they want to be taken
Yeah.
seriously. People do want to be.
if you want if you want to trust somebody, you know, I'm your guy. I can take some stuff seriously. But
Yeah.
I definitely need to balance that with the other.
Yeah. Yeah, I hear you.
Play a lot and be more goofy. That's definitely
Some lightheartedness
something
goes
I need to
far.
inject. I mean, you know my mom, so you know it doesn't come naturally necessarily.
Yeah, the funny bone is a little bit underdeveloped.
Yeah, man, like
But
3
let's
or
not
4
make.
times,
Hey, you know
3
our
or 4
mom.
times a day. 3 or 4 times a day, I find myself just like having to stop and take a breath and say, "Don't take this personally. Don't take this personally."
Yeah, yeah. It's a feature, you know. It's a feature. People that you're real good at one thing. I've never seen somebody that I thought was just really good at everything. You know, it's possible, theoretically possible. I just never saw that person. So, to be good at taking things serious, I think you tend to have a hard time not taking things serious.
Mark Tangway says the painting and his wife keeps him alive.
Nice. That's cool. That's pretty cool.
His
Now,
wife.
do those things harmonize? For me, no, I'm not going to say that. I was going to say something.
We'll just let Mark have his moment, man. His wife keeps him alive.
Yeah,
That's good to hear, man. Mark, we need to get you on the show so you could start sharing what's working with everybody, my guy.
I always
Some people
feel
paint
like
to get away from their wife, you know.
Yeah, all right. That's not my case. My wife.
Painting is some people's spouses.
Yeah. My wife has been very patient as I've pursued. I have to be very aware that she's been very patient over a lot of years while I've pursued my, we got married, we were 21, and there's just kind of like, okay, cool, we're starting out life, so now we're going to get jobs and we're going to pay bills. And I'm like, a few years into the marriage, sitting on a computer looking at YouTube screens saying, no, I'm going to make this work. I'm going to make That's hard. That's hard to watch. When you put yourself in someone else's shoes. And she's very patient watching all that, letting me work through it.
Yeah, we've managed to not talk one bit about the painting you are actually doing.
Because it's dumb. It's stupid painting. It doesn't. It's just something to do while we talk about life.
Yeah. Well, it's been suggested that the way to find a creative work is not to look for it, but to create an environment from which it can emerge.
Oh, that's nice. That's nice. That's a good one. That makes me think about the yeast in my apple cider brew.
Yeah.
I just had to wait for it to happen. And it died recently. And now I got to learn about why it died, the pH, but the environment changed.
You killed your yeast, bro?
Yeah, it died. Yeah. So my batch that I was reusing to make way more alcohol than I really ever need to be having, it was just fun. I was excited. Like, wow, I can do this new trick. This is cool. I can make hard cider. And so I started doing it a lot. But now, I don't know why. Anyway, I ruined the environment. That's what I'm saying. I ruined the environment.
Yeah. So Tyler says, let the creative work find you.
Nice. I like that. I like that a lot.
Yeah.
You know what? We need to look at some. We need to look.
Well, think about it. Think about it. You want to watch some Netflix, you want to sit in front of your TV and veg out. Okay. You don't go get a show and put it on the TV. Someone else is going to do that. There's shows flying around waiting to just show up in your living room. What you do though, is you make yourself a beverage, get on the couch, maybe pull up
get the mood right. Yeah.
Turn the lights down low. And then the moment is there and it arrives. That's maybe not a great example, but in this work you're doing right now, I can pretty much guarantee everyone watching, Joe is not headed towards any kind of a target here.
That's true. Yeah.
We are not on our way to a known place, and that is not necessary.
No,
you can see.
Yeah, because it's just fun. It's just fun to see what idea is going to come next. You know, it's very this is a comfort zone. Doing a stream flowing with some reflections. And that's it's like we're just reusing old patterns. Don't have to reinvent the wheel at any point here to make this work.
Yeah.
Just a little bit of color approximation. I was going to say calculation, but it's really just approximation.
Well, you know, you don't need to know the shape of the plant nor its fruit in order to plant the seed and water it and watch it turn into a sprout. You know?
Yeah, that's it. That's it. You just make the environment let it go. So here's the thing. Here's something I don't understand. Why is it that creativity only seems to happen in when things are nice and comfortable? You know, like when your other needs are met. It seems like
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So, for example, I guess a lot of it's not just creativity. Like if you're hungry, truly hungry, like you're depleted and it's affecting your physical abilities, then the other things kind of take back burner, you know, and like it's hard to be in the mode of I'm going to do something clever and creative right now while you're dealing with hunger.
Yeah.
You know, so it needs like. Go ahead, talk on that. Talk on that, Ben.
Talk on that. Well, I was just gonna. There's this guy Maslow, this psychiatrist, and he theorized that we have a hierarchy of needs as a person.
Yeah.
You know, like at the base level, we need food, clothing, shelter. Above that, you know, a lesser need is community, and love and encouragement, and then a lesser need on top of those things is eventually a thing called self-actualization, where we become the best thing we could ever have been. You know, it's like we actualize all of our potential. It now is real. So
that sounds very special.
Only when the base needs are met do you have the privilege of a person moving on to address the higher up needs. But as you said, what you just were talking about is this same concept of the hierarchy of needs that we have. So if you're freezing to death, you're not thinking I'm going to paint a Picasso. You're thinking I need to get my my body temperature up.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, right.
So we have to address our most primal needs first, and then we move on to our emotional needs, and then we move on to our spiritual needs after that. You know, it's kind of a way that humans.
I definitely don't like that. I don't like that organization of the hierarchy.
Well, it's our behavior. It's not a prescription. It's a behavior.
I think,
which is often why you see people in great like physical wealth or abundance often spiritually vapid. You know.
Yeah, right. So you're saying instinctually that's the hierarchy, but I would agree with its instinct, but I think it's a really dysfunctional, broken instinct, just like a 2-year-old's instinct is to go around saying mine, 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 and taking whatever it wants without considering people's feelings. So I think putting meeting my hunger before I meet my spiritual needs is backwards. And not in a sense of right and wrong. I think in a sense of self-destruction. I think you self-destruct when you flip-flop those.
Yeah. It's all an illusion. Says, I have thoroughly enjoyed this live incredible energy. Do you do this every Saturday morning? We try. We do.
We context is needed. In light of the things that have happened, we can't just say yes on that. Hey, here's something interesting.
The fish are always swimming. You know, it's just a matter of whether or not we can get them out of the water.
Totally. So here's something interesting. I want to show. Like, okay, I'm making this white water in this river, right? So this is a fun. Well, for me, it's fun exploration of current patterns. So I talk about the ellipse pattern a lot in nature, and so when you have water flowing this way, if there is some kind of a substance like foam sea foam, river foam, whatever, bubbles that are in that moving layer, then you get ellipses that point against the current. And the same thing is with waves. Like if this is flowing this way, then I might have a wave that is rolling that way. Let's put a wave in so I can do an example. All right. So I'm not going to, if I want a ripple, we're going to make it coming here. And what happens is the water, when there's white water and it ripples up, it comes and it goes, flips backwards like that. So when you look at a river, you can always tell the direction they're going. A still image, when you look at a photograph of a river, you can always identify the flow of that by looking what direction the waves are curling. So for example, if I put a ripple in here, we're going to go blue. I'm gonna see if I can just do a quick impression of a wave. Let's put some blue water coming up just for fun because it's pretty. And we're going to put some light in it, some yellow and orange to put some. We're getting kind of a window to the deeper water in our little ripple here. And what I'm going to do is make the curl just kind of barely visible on the top, like it's going the opposite direction. So here, let's put let me get a little bit of purple to kind of kill the green, make it look like reflection. Let's get a real light purple, go up here and go. We're just making just like I would do an ocean wave at this point, just doing some reflection lines across the top, squiggle them a little bit. So the water's rising up here. But what I'm not going to do, I'm not going to make white water curling and tumbling toward me like I do with the normal wave. What I'm going to do is put it on the back side of it like this. It's right here. Like this, because it curls against. Okay. The reason that I was explaining that whole thing. So see, this is meant to be imagined as, I know it's not like a stellar job of making an amazing looking thing here, but I'm just going on and on about a pattern that I think is cool, because to this day, it still boggles me when it's got these moving parts that always get switched around in my head. I lose track of it. Like, wait a minute now, what was I always have to remind myself of this one. So we got this swell right here, right? It's hitting something that's slowing the current, and the reaction is that it curls against the flow of the water, not toward. So then it creates a wave. It essentially is a wave, like an ocean wave. You know how ocean waves drift into the beach? They are curved shapes. So if we imagine that we're out at sea and we're looking at an ocean wave going to a beach, it's not a straight wall. It's slightly curved, like it's coming out from the center of a circle. That's how they appear. I'm not trying to say I understand all the physics. This is just the pattern of appearance. Come out from a center somewhat so that they're curved. And that's what I've just painted. Isn't that wild? So a river comes this way. It creates a wave identical to the motion patterns of an ocean wave drifting toward that. And so it's just pretty cool to me that the circumstances are duplicated, but against the flow. It seems counterintuitive, right? Okay, so I'm going to go like this. I'm going to go like this. Make this like a really big ellipse shape. And I'm going to make it go to what might be a faster moving part of the water. We're going to say this is foam and it's coming through here. All right, it's going downstream like this. So I have this curve that's like a little wave tumbling against the flow as it comes around this area. And maybe that's because right here, there's a high spot. So let's do that real quick. This will be fun. We're going to go.
Round Brush has commissioned you to paint a Japanese cityscape with no water.
Whoa. I got to learn some
think-
things before I do that.
I think they're messing with you there with the no water request.
Wow. And does Japanese cities, is there a lot of water with the, are we just going outside of the comfort zone? Maybe I missed some context.
I think we're just trying to get you off of the water is what he's doing here.
Ah, yeah, because I'm obsessed with it, right? I just always am going on about water. It's true. It's a true thing.
I mean,
it's a problem.
I'm much less interested in buildings than I am in water for sure.
Yeah. Let's put a little bit of light. We got light here. I'm going to put a little bit of light coming through. Okay, this is what's causing this swell. I wanted to put like a cause for that coming up. It hits a rock that's under the water, comes up, and then it creates this backwards ellipse. Okay, so here's where I get all scrambled. I was saying all that so I could get to this point, is all of these ellipses are going this way. All of these ellipses that are actual waves, I'm going to call these like tumbling ellipses, because they're the curled edge of a wave, right? But then we have this other ellipse that's going this way that I put here. So I'm putting these other patterns here because this one is a collection of those ellipses that are the foam that are happening according to the speed of the current flow. So we curl things this way. So we're going to have a row of ellipses. So the sea foam itself, if I want to get real dialed in and do some river foam, okay, I'm going to make a little ellipse that's like this. Okay, see how I'm making this ellipse go this way? We're going to make it kind of scrambled, go this way. All right, great. That's great. Let's do another one. We're going to take one. I'm going to put a little purple in that to make the color feel a little more natural. So I'm taking a little purple. So we have an elliptical row of ellipses. That's what I'm getting at. But the ellipses that the elliptical row is made of are pointing the opposite direction of the row that they're making. You know? And that continues to confuse me all the time. I mean, I'm probably wrong about it. Probably what I'm saying is wrong. And I'm going to have to deal with the consequences. So I'm making these ellipses, right? I'm going like this just because I can, because it's fun to put it in there. And all these are going to go like this. But in the end, I'm doing them along this path. It's a smile, not a frown. These are frowns. These are smiles. Isn't that wild? So
that's pretty cool, man.
Look for ellipses. They're out there.
Look for the ellipses, you guys. Well, Cat Marie in the Woods is tuning in from their work break. So they're pretty stoked.
Okay, cool.
And Tyler is stoked that what they love about creating stuff is like painting, woodworking, cooking, whatever is, you take nothing, you make something, and when you're done, you're like, did I just make that?
Did I just make it? Yeah.
That's what Tyler's going through.
There are special moments. Special moments. When I feel proud of what I've done, that's special. That's special.
Yeah.
I don't get that too often. You know what I get in my life? Here's the trade-off. I, get encouraged by a lot of people all the time. Like you've all said very flattering, very honoring things. Said, and that encouragement kind of keeps me afloat, keeps me going. I really appreciate it. By the way. And
45 minutes ago, Joe was like, I hate this. I'm never doing this again.
I'm not doing this. I'm failing. I'm failing at this thing. Yeah, not a good feeling. Let's make a little bit of, so we got a curl that goes that way. But we might have a little bit. So that comes there. I feel like I shouldn't mix those two things. Yeah, we won't do that. We might have like a little rock. Let's go like this. I'm going to make a little rock on the edge of this one. This one is this is like another rock. There's a clump of rocks here. Here's another fun thing to do with river rocks. Put some color in it because we see the color through the face of it. you know.
Hey, Tom wants to know how's your puppy.
Dude, I was okay. The puppy is named Dash now. Thank you for asking,
Okay.
bro. That's fun that you remember that. And I was on the verge of bringing Dash with me to the studio to do this, but then I was so late, and I thought that I'm going to sabotage myself if I do this. I can't bring
Yeah.
I can't bring another variable to have, you know, in just throwing me off. So I did
Yeah.
it, but I'm going to do that. I'm going to do that in the near future with one of these live streams. I'll bring the puppy in to hang out with me while I do that live stream.
Yeah.
That got too blue while I was talking. I put a little blue to take the kind of purple hue out, and then it got too blue. Okay. We're going to put that color in there. All right.
Round Brush just plants a flagpole and says, "Water is God."
What?
How about those 3 words? Okay.
I don't know what to do with that one. It's pretty amazing.
Well,
Water.
we got talk of waterfall requests. We got dragon requests.
Oh man!
We see someone sees a ballerina in there somewhere.
I'm gonna go down here and put a little. I'm gonna put a little tumble coming over this rock because I like it's just an effect that I think is cool. So we're gonna go like this. We're gonna take pure white.
Hey, so Fractal Flowers 2143 says, I don't know how many people request this, but can we do a dragon today? I love painting dragons.
We recently did dragons.
Apparently they make a lot of money painting dragons.
What? I got to get in on that game.
Saying Fractal Flowers 2143, blow us up, man. Where the money at in dragon painting?
Yeah, send your dragons in. I want to see them. Send it to share@muraljoe.com. Send that. We're going to open that up. Round Brush sent a zinger of a picture. I got to show you, got to show you this picture he sent in. We were talking about, at the time that he sent that, this was a while back. So, I'm going to make him look bad by showing something with humor that has lost its moment. Nevertheless, it deserves to be seen. So I'm going to show you. He's got a pretty fun one for us to look at. I'm putting this going in. So this is an effect that happens on the opposite side when water tumbles over a rock. It'll have a trajectory that launches over, leaves an air bubble between the water and the rock when it does that. So now we got that little bit of a tiny cascade, something fun there. And then this effect needs to happen where the water has ramped up high enough, it's been sent on more of an upward trajectory, and sometimes that actually happens between rocks. So I probably was the wrong move to put the rock under that. That's not where it would occur. Listen to me, I'm such a nerd. I nerd out on this stuff so I can reproduce it. It's not because it's important to know this. It's because I like finding the patterns of so things are reproducible. That's all.
Hey, you know what I did the other day is I just went around taking pictures of how when you put the sun right behind a subject, like right behind it, so it silhouettes the subject. It creates a halo, like a faint, like rainbow halo that glows around that subject.
That's awesome.
If there's some humidity in the air. And so I was just going around taking pictures of everything this way. Take a picture of a light post with the sun creating a halo around it. Take a picture of a guy on the beach with the sun creating a halo around it.
Yeah, that sounds cool.
All of these pictures on their own, completely useless. But the research and the studying of when these elements are in this relationship, then this effect is created. That is a worthy way to spend your time.
Yeah, it's cool.
Those are all little bullets that you're going to put in your arsenal.
Sure.
So that when you decide that you are emotionally compelled by a certain subject matter, you can instantly magnify it and nail that effect if you know it occurs
when the circumstances
these-
are this.
in these circumstances in this way.
That's cool. Yeah, I like that.
I can right now I can put a glowing halo around any body, right? Because I know
You know how it's done.
that object there, that object there,
Yeah,
relationship, understanding the relationship between elements and objects is going to be incredibly helpful.
that's good. That's good. Food for thought. Okay, I just want to complete my thought about this flowing water, even though I feel like it's not really relevant to anyone's life, but
Finish it up, because real quick, before you finish that rock up, someone says they want to know how to paint some underwater, and someone's like flowing water. Well, Joe has tutorials on these things.
there's so many. There's so many, and one of our
So many.
back to the dragons. One of our recent live streams was painting dragons. We had
You want to
dragons.
see dragons?
Yeah, we were doing dragons. We had these. Oh, well, I'm zoomed way in. I forgot about that. Yeah, we were doing dragons. We had some monsters. They're more monsters than dragons, but we were having some fun.
What is it? What is a dragon? What is a monster?
Yeah, this is the most dragony one. Whoops, I didn't mean to do that. Anyway, we were doing some
It's
having
pretty
some
cool.
fun inventing dragons. Okay, so let me nerd out on the parts of this moving water for a minute, and then we'll be done. Just a minute is all we need.
Okay. Tell us how this is working.
Yeah, I think it's cool, so what happens is you get this stopping current, the current channels between at a greater amount, and then those greater amount streams cross to make the wave. And when you create a wave, like waves in water are the high points, wave referring to the crests, the high points, what we commonly call a wave because we see going, those are when a surplus of water comes against another one, they get a high point where they cross, because it's just additional, it's additive, they cross and there's more where they cross, so you get a high point in the water. When that happens, I intuitively think it should curl toward me, but it does the opposite. It curls the other way. So this pattern I did right here would likely happen downstream between a couple of rocks that have taken that current and concentrated it into a smaller space, making it flow deeper and faster. So what I'm going to do is put a ripple going here toward that. Then I'm going to darken it a little bit. Let's add a little bit of blue to our mix. Got some underwater showing. Comes toward that. Okay, and then from this one, comes in there. So that's having those ripples come in this way. And then I got a dumb old alarm going off in the phone. Hang on.
A nice little song here.
Yeah, that's real pretty, isn't it? Isn't that pretty? Yeah. So see, these are like the little waves, but then they cross and you get this big wave. And then that's when you get this tumble, is where it just has to get high enough, and then it rolls, because the current under it is faster than the current on the surface. Isn't that weird? Isn't that a weird thing when it gets deep enough like that? So I'm going to tame this down. We don't need all of that. I'm going to maybe change the direction make it feel like it's a little more aligned with the scale that we're proposing here. It's just a little bit, just a wee bit. It's going to curve this way and then taper out. Yeah, it's just kind of a fun pattern. I got to toy with it to get the shape to look believable in perspective. But this is what it does. It comes together, crosses, makes a backwards curl, tumbles downstream, launches over a rock, makes a bubble in the water that's like a waterfall. Let's make a waterfall.
Yeah, dude. Waterfall. Maybe like a dragon shaving its legs in the waterfall.
That'd be cool.
Because it's got hairy legs. But other dragons think it's sexy when you have shaved legs.
Check this out.
This
I wanna
dragon
show you
shaves
some-
its legs.
Okay, I'm in my email. I just realized I want to show this before I think that waterfall.
Hey, if you got anything you want us to check out, send it to share@muraljoe.com.
Let's see what we got.
Yeah, round brush dragons have hair, dude. Of course dragons have hair.
Here's a cool sideways picture that I don't know how to rotate from Steve. This is cool. Esso. I wonder what that means. This is a cool depiction of very moody picture of a gas station. This kind of takes me to this feels like a scene out of the show Stranger Things, kind of like that, like kind of a little bit of eerie tone because of darkness, maybe a little bit of magic, a little bit of eerie. This is nice work. Nice work.
Nice.
You know, if I was quicker on the draw, I'd rotate it so that we could look at it.
Hey, send these to share@muraljoe.com, everybody. Send your stuff to share@muraljoe.com.
Yeah,
Oh, check out, it looks like you, Joe. Look at that.
That's me. That is me right there. Nobody else has those proportions. At 46 years old, still the proportions of a 10-year-old.
Look at that. Look at that neck on that guy. That is you, man.
I do get way into the
You know
skin
what's funny?
tone.
You know what's funny is I walk by a mirror or like a window or whatever, and I see my silhouette as I walk by. Every time I do, it causes me to be like, oh man, I gotta stand up straight. I gotta put my head on top of my shoulders. I'm like sticking it out in front of me all weird, you know?
Yeah. So this is from Round Brush. And you know, I'm just very impressed with your rate of creation. Like, you're always doing these clever pictures, sending them in. You do a great job. This is a real artist, someone that can capture that. I mean, that really does look like a younger version of me for sure. Younger version. It's like the kind of very Andy Griffith-esque or Rockwell-ish kind of vibe to it, you know? Like we're going back in time. I'm white and blonde hair, so it kind of fits the vibe.
Yeah, apparently this is from an old screen grab.
It is, yeah. Yeah. Oh man.
Hey, Fractal Flowers is making money off their dragon paintings on Etsy. That's what they're doing. So
wow, that's pretty cool. I'm gonna try putting some dragons on Etsy. Are they in their paintings? We're talking paintings, not drawings.
Yeah, paintings. Yeah.
All right.
So you know, they're saying they don't make a ton of money, but you know, they're
hey, look,
doing the Etsy thing.
Here's good old Lisa Joe. She sent in a message. She came to a workshop. Wonderful, wonderful person to meet. Very friendly, very pleasant. Okay, she's got some stuff to look at here. Go here. See I'm sorry that I didn't read this whole. I'm probably missing really important context. Let's show off some of Lisa Joe's stuff. You want to see that? After years of not painting, finally got inspired again, pulled everything out, decided to start with my most challenging canvas. Oh, brave. I like it. 5 foot by 4 foot. You know, thanks for not using metric. I appreciate that. 10 years and has survived at least 5 moves. Wow. Okay, I'll read the rest of the context later. Let's see what she's got. Yeah. Well, that's loading. Ooh, cool work. Check this out. This is neat. Lisa Joe's got some talent. Doing some really nice stuff. Look at that water. Let's hear stuck here, walking away. I like that. I like the honesty there. Stuck here, walking away, or at least should. I totally relate to that. Well, you know, I don't know what you're stuck with, but it looks beautiful. Really looks beautiful. Let me just encourage you that walking away is healthy. You come back with fresh eyes and things look amazing. I'll take a closer look at that, see if there's any context I missed in the message for tips on developing it, but it's really is beautiful work. I know sometimes in pictures, this one, if I'm looking at difference, like I can see a picture here. If we're talking about capturing sense of scale, sometimes it's frustrating if you feel like you're not capturing the depth and scale of what you're looking at. Perspective is an extremely touchy, it's worth the delicate precision. when it comes to perspective. Okay, so having the number of details is not what I'm talking about. If we wanted to get the perspective of this water going way back in the size of this cliff, and this is not telling Lisa what to do next, but just subject comes to mind. It's not the number of details, it's the precision of how they're laid down, because we interpret so much distance on this tiny little span of the picture. If you can see my little mouse going up and down, there's that little strip across the middle, and we perceive all this distance by the exact angles that are laid out in that. So you don't want to underestimate. You don't want to underestimate the power of those angles. So in a painting, there's freedom to make any kind of angles, any kind of impression. You know, of course, we just have fun throwing them in there. So I'm not saying what should happen. But if you're wanting to really dial in perspective to capture a feel, because I feel like you've done a great job of capturing translucent water, sky reflection, you know, rock texture, light and shadow. It's beautiful. I mean, great job. So I can't even think of what you wouldn't like about this, but perspective cannot go the way you want it to very easily, because a simple stroke of a single wave can tilt, you know, just like a percentage of a degree different than what the perspective requires. So when you get up to this zone, this is the danger zone. This is like the race car with the delicate steering wheel, is this zone right here. The angles change the perception of that perspective with the tiniest little adjustments. So these angles, see, these are awesome. These look so good in here, like this darker ripple going across, beautiful. And my instincts just take that in and accept it as being on the surface aligned with what you've got laid out. But then when something tips slightly the other way, just slightly the other way, it has power to tell a different story instantly. That's something to think about. Something to think about. Thanks for sharing this, Lisa. I'll take a little more look at it too, you know, when we have less. Oh, that's the wrong email.
Hey, Joe, what's your favorite thing to paint, Joe?
Well, if I had my way, I might just paint dragons all the time. You know?
Yeah.
Talking about dragons, it's very, very fun. I like inventing. I love painting water. It was not so therapeutic when I was learning how to do it, but I'm at a point in life when the mystery isn't there anymore. There still is mystery that makes it fun, but I don't feel like I'm at a loss for how to produce what I'm trying to produce.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's between water and monsters. It's one of those.
All right.
Here's a message. My name is Tyler.
Monsters in water then are gonna be.
That'd be so magical, wouldn't it? Wouldn't that be cool? Yeah, let's do it. Let's paint it. To ask about fire and smoke effects. Oh yeah, we covered fire and smoke effects later that day. Here's a cool picture. We covered fire and smoke, so I won't go into it. Watch previous live streams. Just look at the last one we did, or the one before the last. But here's a cool piece that Tyler's working on that brought up the subject later on. This is cool. We got the firefighter coming out of the door. Here's what always happens with fire. Here's something that I think wasn't covered as much. Here, let me finish reading the message. I intentionally didn't mention the specific application at the time because I was looking for the general concept, which you explained perfectly. All right, I'm glad to hear that. Thank you very much for that. I've attached the file I'm currently working on. Would appreciate your critique. You may do it live. Good thing you gave me permission now that I'm doing it. Someone else as well. Unfortunately, I won't be able to join the live session on the 7th, but plan to watch the recording later. All right, well, good news. We are doing it live. I forgot to get permission, and it's the 14th. So it all kind of comes together.
The trifecta.
Yeah. Here's something that I did cover fire, you know, but a valuable thing to understand with fire is it doesn't flare apart as it's traveling up. It goes together. So it's just like, dude, I just realized something.
What'd you realize?
I just realized it does this. It channel the river. See how things channel and slant to the middle? Fire is another motion thing that does that. As it rises, it comes together, slants to the middle. So in my scene where I have the burning bush, so just keep this in mind. No painting necessary. No painting necessary. But look at this repeating pattern where I want the feel of fire originating somewhere, rising somewhere. Look at the constant pattern of it flaring out at the origination, squeezing together as it gains speed, and then
that blue fire is amazing.
Hey, thanks a lot, man. That was my most recent addition to the picture, just for fun. I wanted to add the magic element, just make it feel a little magical.
Yeah, it feels like there are some very toxic chemicals in that bush burned right
Yeah,
now.
it does. Someone put like a bunch of newspapers.
It was like fire on the planet Avatar. You know what I mean? It's like there's stuff burning in there that we don't know about.
Yeah, yeah. It's otherworldly. All right. It's so like the fire comes out, heat makes it rise fast. So we have a current. The current actually stretches it like gum, making it skinnier, so to speak. I don't know that that's the true physics. I'm just trying to illustrate the way. And then it does flare out after it does this. So it does this, and then when it loses speed, it starts to curl out and dissipate while the current goes to the middle. It kind of pushes.
So it's hot and it's combusting, and therefore it's racing upward.
Yeah.
As the combustion finalizes and it becomes the same temperature as the air around it, it dissipates.
That's it. So you have the slow motion, fast motion, slow motion. Goes slow, fast.
Did you airbrush this fire?
No, this is all just a brush and strategically blending the gradients to get the layers. Just considering what layers I have on what point and just making the gradients appropriate. It's all just wet on wet mixing gradients. That's all it is.
Reaper says my description of wonderful is an understatement.
Thanks.
Something great, they say.
Thank you.
That's all an illusion. Has mind blown emojis.
Hey, thanks. I appreciate it. Hopefully that's a helpful.
567 says that's amazing, and Tom Heaney says that's fantastic, and Mark says, look, like airbrush.
Thanks. Okay. Yeah. So that pattern, just to reiterate. Well, I don't know.
Steve thinks you're just showing off. Roundbrush thinks you're just showing off with your.
I'm always showing off. I'm always showing off. That's what I do. Okay.
Oh, here's the showing off.
This is the simple version, like we have the combustion, we have the heat rising, and then we have the curl like that. But with fire, it's not in slow enough motion. It's not like smoke that has the more gentle curling slopes. You get more jagged changes of direction because it has its own energy. It's got its own energy, as in it's generating heat, causing motion while it rises, unlike smoke that's not generating like stuff that manipulates the air as much. So, I mean, I sound like I feel like I sound like a know-it-all when I say that. This is just
no. I think this is an accurate analysis because if I ask anybody what is the shape of fire, I can tell you 95% of people are going to give me probably a useless description.
Right? Okay.
So let's arrive at a useful description of the shape of fire.
Okay. Thank you for that. So this is my modification. So I've randomized the lines, brought them across that upper area to suggest that it's rolling off of it, but at the same time continuing to scramble the shapes from combustion that's rising from those points very rapidly. So then you just, you make more of that white yellow on the high points. Typically, you have that lighter color. So I won't go into all the details, but this is my workflow, the understanding of the motion. Well, intuitively, I say that a lot these days, don't I? Intuitively, you get like this. You're like, you make fire and it branches out like a tree, like this, because you're thinking it makes sense that it would spread as it goes up. But then it ends up not looking like fire because that's an unfamiliar motion when you do this. You're like, okay, I made this fire. Then you make some flowing out this way. Then you make some going out this way, right? And then you make your wood pile in there, So I'm not saying that this is doing it wrong. It's just not in line with what's going to happen.
That's true. Fire does not grow like a tree. It is not reaching out into the atmosphere in a branch-like fashion.
Yeah. Right. When it combusts, you can see at the base of a flame, it initially combusts outward, but immediately starts gathering to that fast
I suppose
motion.
Lightning does, but lightning is a different animal.
Yeah. So to make this feel at a glance more like the fire we're familiar with, I add lines that do this, because as they go up, now it's okay to have some of these. It's fun to have those scrambled shapes in there, but it's that general motion that's found in multiple places,
Yeah.
That has
Hey,
that
good morning,
immediate
Shane Dalton Art. You're late to the party, but better late than never. And also, I wanted to say that
What else did you want to say?
What you describe as intuitively, again, I'm going to seek clarity in definitions here. Just like I don't think letting go is actually us releasing a thing as much as it is us changing ourselves. I don't think that intuition is you being intuitive in this way. I don't think you mean you're being intuitive. I think what you mean is you are tapping into an established set of skills and habits that you have built up from much study and repetition. And so it feels automatic like intuition, but it is based on a very large body of knowledge that you have grown piece by piece. So intuition happens, but as you're making the shape of fire, I don't think you're intuiting the shape of fire. I think you heavily analyze and understand the shape of fire.
Right. I hear what you're saying. Yeah. I separate
just so that others don't sit around and say, "Hey, where's my intuition? I wish I was born with such intuition." Like,
well,
no. But if you wish for anything, wish to be born with obsessive curiosity that will not let you sleep at night.
Right. I think
that will be more effective than any sort of intuition.
I think a lot of the time I'm wanting to identify that there's this natural misleading intuition. There's this natural intuition that it's like I feel like things should be this way, but when I do it, it looks wrong. And so I'm a lot of the times trying to refer to it being a trick, like your intuition tricks you. Because when you feel like something should be, that's very powerful influence.
Yeah, hey, it's all an illusion. And Tom and Mark, they find your description of fire very helpful, much more helpful than a lot of other things they've heard from very seemingly talented artists.
Yeah, so perhaps those were more intuitive explanations.
Yeah.
Let's get to something to analyze.
Well, yeah, it's useless,
Yeah. You want to make a line.
Intuition is great for you, but it's useless for everyone else.
It's the worst. It's the worst when you get art instruction that's like, well, you just want to kind of make a line that's here and kind of bring it over to here where it feels soft and right and good and warm. You're like, What are
No,
we
no, no, no.
talking-
We can arrive at clarity as to why things feel good and why things don't feel good. We can
Yeah.
absolutely do that.
Yeah, right. Yeah. I think artists, okay, if I'm categorizing myself, I'm a lover of beauty. And sometimes I feel like I'm risking unbeautifying the story of my life when I dig into the numbers that make it all that are kind of like the nuts and bolts
Sure.
that make it, that compose it, that it's composed of. I don't want to say that it is those nuts and bolts, but so I'm digging into the patterns, and sometimes that just has this very unromantic feel to it. And as an artist, you're like, no, I totally relate to wanting to stay in intuition zone because it can feel more meaningful. But I think I've just come to a place in life where I no longer feel like that just working from what you feel is more meaningful than working from numbers. So I try to balance it. It's like it's exhausting when you're trying to calculate a whole picture. So it's not like it's always. I'm not trying to say it's always the way, but I use it a lot, and I never mean to make things seem like they need to be done as a computer would do it. I just find it real helpful. Anyway, jibber jabbering.
Well,
Again.
I was right before this stream this morning. I was reading about habits, and just creating habits so that you say it's exhausting, to consider your entire picture. Well, when you establish certain habits that make your life a conducive place from which creativity and art and insights and learning emerge, you spend the energy on establishing the habit so that you do not spend the energy trying to understand what to make.
Yeah, I hear
right?
you.
So if you put together a way of looking at the world, a way of being, a way of considering your feelings, a way of this or that, well, you're just establishing habits. And then when you set up all these habits, you can think less about how do I get this right, or how do I make this waterfall work, or how do I make this dragon look more fierce. You have those habits. You've observed all these things.
Right. Yeah,
so your energy is not spent on how do I make it look whatever. Your energy is spent on what would I like to make.
Yeah. So I think don't be too intimidated. I think there's a healthy caution against turning your whole life into a numbers game, but I would say strive for a balance where you allow a good amount of the numbers to find their way into your strategy for creativity. Leave some room.
Yeah. Well, Jonathan, I'm not talking about any marketed set of habits like the 7 habits that you suggest. I'm talking about just getting in a rhythm of making a space and time for you to be curious, or to be curious about the shape of things in the world, or the relationships between people in the world.
There is a book.
Habit.
I'm curious
examining the shapes of things. That's the habit I seek to establish in myself. It's examining the shapes and relationships of things.
But I wonder if Jonathan is referring to something that's been helpful in the past. Like I know there was a book that has gained some fame.
The 7 Habits. The 7 Habits refers to a book that was written about highly
you're familiar
people, quote unquote.
Yeah. Well,
or Atomic. Oh, there you go.
James Atomic Habits.
Habits. There you
go. Yeah. So I had that book.
Never read it.
Let's not. I mean, I think there's. Yeah, I mean, I think that there's probably a lot of value in that. But the existence. I'm talking about the existence of habits. I think that. I'm trying to, what I'm really thinking about is how I'm going to make this feel cohesive. I've got my creature coming out of the fall. Water's hitting the back of my creature. because I liked that idea, but I've got my fall staged way back behind it. So this is a problem for me. I need to put closer water, or what I need to do is put a cave in there that I sense. So here's the thing. I'm changing the subject now off of my picture. That was my thought process. I'm working through a puzzle, and I hit a rare point where I needed a part of my brain that I use in conversation. Typically, they stay separate. Isn't that fascinating? Typically, they stay separate. I draw pictures while I talk, while I listen, and they stay separate. The one doesn't interfere with the other. But there are moments when it's like, whoa, all of a sudden I'm trying to cue up a part of my mind that's occupied. And that happened just now. I was like, I needed some logic for this instead of intuition. Okay. And I was, now that I'm off of that subject, I think I figured out my puzzle here. Now I'm going to go back to our conversation. I feel like you and I, Ben, we have a natural distaste for like you're talking about those habits when people you said marketed, you used the word marketed,
Yeah.
and I can
habits thing.
Yeah, I can sense a natural tension or like distaste for I think it can come across as someone capitalizing on here's the system, be like me. I've unlocked it, and now let me help you unlock it. It comes across as someone parading rightness or having unlocked things, and kind of like I'm just saying how it comes across, not how it is. And I think, like,
well, to address the elephant in the room, I am just skeptical of sales because I work in sales and I know how effective it can be. I can sell you something you didn't previously want. I can make that happen because I understand psychology and I use empathy, and people can be manipulated. This is true.
Yeah.
So when something is being sold as opposed to just being shared, then I address it with a sense of
right. There's a natural sense of caution.
Accepting that it's being sold, not just shared.
Yeah. So I think that makes sense. That's totally sensible. So I just kind of try to see, since everything in this world has some amount of corruption in it, it seems, as far as I can tell, I always just try to say, well, where is the part that I can get behind with this? It's a product, so I have to look at it as a product, but at the same time, it doesn't mean that it's absent of helpful truth. Try to see that. And I have the feeling so I was recommended that book to give a little more context to where I'm coming from. I also was recommended that book, Atomic Habits.
Mm-hmm. And it's been very helpful to a lot of people, I guess. I hear a lot of testimony about it.
Yeah, right. And so I think there's good things in it. However, the person that recommended it to me is not someone I want to be like. And so
that is an important consideration.
Exactly. So I can see both sides. Sides. I'm like, okay. And they felt real strongly about it. But here's the conflict I find myself in, is being given lots of advice by personalities, that I'm not really trying to be like. And I'm like, okay, all right. So I'm trying to see the balancing point, but if, just something to think about.
Well, hey, if anything, I've stirred the room up because they don't think I can sell them something. I'll tell you what, just as surely as Joe can paint water, I can sell you an idea.
Yeah, well,
that is a bold statement, but it's a career. It's a profession. We are not as impermeable as we would like to think, you guys. If you play in the mud puddle, you get dirty. All right. None of us are so fortified that we can exist in a world that is telling us something and not for a moment start to consider if this is
if this is actually the thing.
I think with
You know,
this, some people are
I'm
more
going off on
vulnerable.
a rabbit trail. But I just want to make the point that we are impressionable. People are very impressionable.
Yeah. I agree they're impressionable, but once you've shown your cards, it's a little bit harder to sell.
Hey, well, okay. So Roundbrush says, let's see here. Wait, no, Jonathan says, make us all buy a Mural Joe painting before this live stream is over.
Oh, nice. Jonathan's
I
being
could do
nice. That's
I could
good.
do that, but you would all feel incredibly guilty, and Joe wouldn't know what to do.
Well, I think I think if you came in without knowing people knowing who you are and the context, you could come in with a totally different stage set. Come in as Friendly Ben that's here for your gentle voice. You're just this gentle person that listens and knows what you need. And you're like, when you set the stage without I can sell you anything, that kind of shows your cards. And then people are like, no, I now know that I'm not going to buy whatever it is that comes out of your mouth. But I think if you come in with a different stage set, then what you are saying has great validity, is that things can indeed
I'm not
be sold.
I'm not actually trying to sell anybody anything right now. That's kind of the joy of this moment is that I'm not.
Yeah. All right. Here's a different subject question. Is it better to leave the details obscure on my creature so that they can be imagined? Is the effect more powerful if it's imagined than if I get in there and really work those details? Because I like both. There's a place for both. Here we have details obscured and it's like, oh, okay, what is that? At least for me, my curiosity
Joe,
gets right.
Referring back to the subject at hand, which is sales, you can sell me on anything.
Yeah. Okay.
You can make that image whatever you want it to be, and I'll start to believe it.
Yeah. Well, it has to be done well. It's
you can create the world for me to live in, tell the stories I like to hear, and I will buy it.
Well, there's tricks to telling the story that you like to, like I have to with in terms of a painting, I there's things I would do to not interfere and ruin that story. Like if you paint outside of your ability on a subject, then you might give away the fakeness. It's kind of,
your hand.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not. It's a little bit late to get into this zone, so I'll just very briefly flirt with it. But we live in a time right now where if you ever needed evidence that people can be easily sold and convinced of things, now is definitely the time. So I guess I talk about it because I find it, on one hand, concerning that I can be influenced by external factors that I don't want to influence me.
Right.
Like the own permeability of my mind and my own conceptualization of my world and my reality. We can all be gaslit. We can all be brainwashed. We can all be sold anything. And so I find it concerning on the one hand, but on the other hand, I find a calling to adhere to the authentic and the verifiable and the relatable and that which connects us. Because if you can convince anyone of anything, including yourself, we are the most avid subscribers of our own narratives. If you can convince anybody, well, then there's like a calling to identify what is authentic and real and reliable, and that is incredibly satisfying. So if we can acknowledge that we can all be sold, then we can also find a responsibility to identify and share what is real, because otherwise it'll be lost.
When you say Yeah, I hear you. Yeah, right. Yes, you're talking about the importance to recognize a vulnerability so that you can act accordingly and not fall
Yeah, I'm
prey
not
to
saying I
it.
can sell people things because I'm an awesome salesperson. I'm saying I can sell people things so that we all realize how much storytelling matters.
But you watch people who are skilled salesmen. I mean, they're hired because they're good at it. Their failure rate is really high. Like for everything they sell, they have to experience a whole bunch of people saying, "No, you're selling me something." you know so isn't there some context to be recognized or reckoned with when you say we can be sold anything? Because I mean, a guy tried to sell me his Kirby vacuum cleaner at my front door, and I just made his day worse because I wasn't buying it, but I let him give me the demo, and I said, it's your
Yeah.
fault. you know
Yeah, well, I'm not gonna say you can be shaken from your convictions, but I will say that the moment you're asleep and dreaming, you believe everything you're seeing as real.
uh-huh.
You know, it's so easy to do. We do it to ourselves every day as we
Yeah.
sleep. You know, so it's just the power of the narrative that I'm giving testament to.
Yeah, which I think there's a lot of truth to that. Like it is.
And the environment in which you're absorbing that narrative.
So do you think it's kind of like saying we need to understand for all of us that if the environment, it's on the condition that if the environment is perfectly set, then we are vulnerable to getting sold. It's on the condition that if the variables are set perfectly enough.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like we were talking about making the stage for creativity and then it emerges. Well, if you set the stage for being brainwashed, confusion emerges.
But that stage is not always super easily set, and so I think when someone's like, no, you can't just sell me anything, I think it's like,
Yeah, I didn't say it was easy. I did not say it was easy. In fact, it's a very difficult skill.
Yeah. So I think
Hey,
it's true.
Mavis says something interesting. The weapon against being brainwashed is awareness. So let me put this another way then, off of that statement.
Okay.
The weapon against confusion as to how water works is awareness of its shapes and parts.
Yeah. I think
Right?
that I think that's good.
If
That's a good way
if
to.
some artist is coming to you and saying the way you make fire is the 7 steps I have here available for sale in my book.
Annoying. Oh, gag me.
Right?
That's terrible.
So if that's just a bunch of malarkey, you're tempted to say, well, maybe they know, and I don't.
Yeah.
Well, unless you have your own empirical experience observing the fire, awareness, as Mavis puts it,
Yeah.
by interacting with, experiencing, you're prone to be brainwashed and convinced of whatever anyone else is selling. So it's your awareness that pushes back against confusing narratives. That is definitely valuable.
Yeah, I can see that. That's good. Yeah. I think like I could go the route of selling the truth. I think that's the unfortunate reality of it, is that people do a bad thing when they sell the truth. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of like you discover, this is a personal conviction I have for this reason. Like the topic brings it up. I think it's a good topic. Philosophically, we're just having fun philosophically, but I don't like when the truth is sold. There's some things that I think should always be free. And it's a personal conviction. I'm not imposing that, but when your product is truth, I don't think it's right to sell it. I think when your product is labor, it's right to sell it. And so it's hard sometimes when you dig and you spend a lot of labor to uncover truth, it's hard to separate those things and say, here's what I should sell. And that's kind of the crux, if you will, that I find myself in.
Or more maliciously, should truth be obfuscated in order to make it more rare and valuable, right? Like that's the same way of looking at it, or a different way of looking at the same problem,
Yeah. Yeah. So the last thing I ever want to be is somebody that conceals helpful things so that I can profit. But at the same time, if I spend my life as a researcher uncovering those helpful things, there's that natural self-centered side that says, well, I would sure like to get paid for my work. That's a tough balance. That's a tough
Well,
balance.
yeah, untangle it. Because on one hand, you need to be able to survive. Okay. You need to be able to survive.
Yeah.
And if you're not surviving with the work you're putting in, then you got to change the type of work you're doing. Otherwise, you're not going to survive. And so to try and create something of value that sells is not a bad thing, in my opinion. It is an intent to make the labor of your life sustaining so that you can do more of it. So there is value in, I'm sympathetic to the person that wants to uncover something true and then sell it.
Yeah, right. I feel like that's the issue that is uncomfortable about the 7 habits topic, just the topic in general.
Yeah.
Is that you're like, okay, you're doing well at a subject.
Yeah. I think everybody knows these things are true. Everybody knows that these certain habits yield productivity. Everybody knows if you go to bed early and get up early and you read and you write and you meditate and you drink a lot of water and you eat clean and you exercise, blah, blah, blah. Everybody knows these things. You believe in yourself. You're an optimist. You take chances.
Right. There's no shortage of that story. Yeah. I hear you. Yeah.
There's no mystery. True. But what I think what we do as writers, as painters, as talkers, as just observers walking down the sidewalk, what we do is we package this experience and then we communicate it to the people around us. And we say, do you see this or feel this, or am I crazy?
Yeah.
And so to package something abstract like habitual behavior, or to package something abstract like how to paint water, I think it's just a human impulse. We want to package up our experience of all this and then show it to someone else. And if someone else finds it useful or helpful, that's great.
Yeah.
But if we spend all of our life and time doing this and then we don't monetize it, well, then we're not going to survive.
But you can monetize. Okay, like for me, doing these live streams is theoretically, this one's not monetized, but theoretically, let's say live streams take off and they're doing wonderful. So then I'm not selling truth, I'm selling my time. And that's where I think I'm not saying it's easy to find that balance, but it's the balance that I strive to find is where can I sell my time? Because that's, in my opinion, what's fair and good to sell. Healthy for society, healthy for my role in community,
Yeah. All right.
I'll
tell you what, Joe, I have a hard time watching television.
I don't like watching it. I don't watch TV anymore.
I have a hard time watching television because I know that everything in that experience is geared towards selling me.
Yeah.
Everything.
Everything is. That's how I feel too. Definitely.
Like,
do you think even a reality show, even when you're watching a reality show, for example, what's being sold when you're doing?
Yes. It's all being sold, man. I'm just constantly being sold,
What are you being sold? So let's say you're watching the Kardashians or something. What do you think? Just to understand what you're saying. I'm not arguing. So like
sure. No, I'm being so Kardashian. I'm being sold what is beautiful. What is important to care about. What is my place in the world? What should I accept as to the behaviors of others?
I hear you. I hear you.
Right? Like, just constant selling.
Yeah.
So
I'm not a fan.
If those messages don't land, I don't buy their stuff, and the economy doesn't turn, and yada yada yada.
Yeah, because those have there's investors that are really, really trying to capitalize on shows like that, right? You got people with money invested in the show. So for sure there is a product. I've heard I heard someone say oftentimes, I like to listen to conspiracy podcasts fun pastime. Not here to defend any of them. But something that comes up a lot is if you don't know what the product is, then you are the product.
Yeah.
I think that's a really interesting. So when you're like,
Man,
say,
that-
oh, I
that is
got
a
to,
principle of like the last 5 years, man. If you haven't learned that in the last
Yeah.
5 years,
yeah. It's like,
if the
wow, I
product
got
is
all this
free,
free
you're the
stuff. This
product.
company just keeps giving me free stuff. Yeah. Because they're taking you and all the data associated with you and selling it.
Yeah, selling it to people trying to sell you stuff.
Yeah. Right. Okay.
You are the product being sold to the advertisers.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm gonna put this on mute, and you're gonna finish this thing up real quick for all our viewers at home, or keep.
Yeah,
going
we
or
got to stop.
whatever,
It's
but I'll
time. It's time. Oh, okay. We ran out of time. How about we continue this on the next live stream? This is a fun picture. It got fun when I put the monster at the end in a waterfall. That is it. That's it. That's my scene so far. I felt like I feel like that could get some more development and be all the more fun for it. You got a river coming out of a waterfall. We got a creature peeking out of a cave behind the waterfall. Kind of a fun idea, isn't it? Yeah. That's all YouTube is these days. I agree, Roundbrush. I agree with that. It is annoying. You know, every time I start a live stream, gosh, if I say too much, I feel like I'm risking getting kicked off of YouTube. But every time I start a live stream, I started clicking the button to not monetize, because every time, like when we're wrestling with the audio, I'm trying to get them figure out the system's muted. I don't want people watching commercials. You know, it's so annoying to be called, and you've all experienced that on my live. So I stopped doing it. The commercials are out of control. So, I feel it. But nevertheless, look at this cool thing we get to do on the positive side. It's pretty fun that we get to gather.
yeah, hey, that's true. Perfection is the enemy of progress, you guys. That remains to be the case.
That's
Just
it.
because the world isn't exactly how we want it, that's no reason to not participate. Come on,
Yeah.
let's take the good and let go of the bad.
That's it. Yeah. Yeah. Jonathan says, oh, that's why YouTube is free. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, dude.
Exactly.
And Gmail and Google Maps.
Oh man, that free stuff. Because we buy things. We are people who buy things, and who we buy from is, up for grabs. Oh well, what are you gonna do? What are you gonna do?
Civilization,
I know. We got more cool stuff to look at. I kind of skimmed through that inbox, and we had some cool stuff to look at. So we could probably take a look at a couple more. We're not doctoring any of them, but we could look at some other pictures here. Bob sent one in. Bob sent a fire picture. Looking at fire, doing the scrunching. This is kind of cool. Starts bigger, channels into a skinnier. Great example of the fire subject. You can back up on the live stream to see us talking about that. Sherry sent one in. We got a fire. Picture here. Ooh, that's cool. Very cool. Check that out. Yeah, you could use the same effect on that one. You could make this is good. You've got some of that effect going in these. I'll expand the screen a little bit, make it a little bigger. Where it kind of is big and then channels together as it rises. That's the effect. Well done. Love the colors. That's an awesome glow you got there. You know what I didn't get to? Jay said, any ideas on how to paint a translucent rainbow? We ran out of time. We can't do this. On the next live stream, I'm going to tackle this. Okay? I'm going to tackle this. This is a common issue that comes up. How to paint a rainbow. I had a customer tell me not to put a rainbow in a picture because rainbows never look good in paintings. And that was a very good point.
If that's not a challenge, I don't know what is.
Come on. So let's solve this problem once for all. Let's do a good rainbow. I think that's a good mission for the next live stream. We got a security alert from Google. Now we'll ignore that one. New sign in. Tyler McDonald has picture to share. Nice rays coming through trees, pretty flowers, stream. Oh, this is an update on the perspective of that stream. Tyler sent this in early on when the perspective was looking rough. Wow, great improvement in that way. This is looking fantastic. Good work on that stream. Rays coming through, glowing. That has a nice illuminated effect on the blossoms, the pink blossoms on that tree. Amazing work. Good job, Tyler. Thanks for sharing that. And says, I've been on vacation, missed the last few weeks, finished up that painting you helped me with a couple weeks ago. This is named Morning Mercies from Lamentations. Lamentations is a prophetic book included in the Bible for those of you that don't have that context. Cool. All right, nice work. Okay, then we got, after Tyler, we got Mark sending a golf painting for a country club. Let's check out Mark's work. Let's look at this one. Whoa, nice. That's cool looking. That's really good work. Sorry about the expanding on that. I'm trying to gracefully move this around. Nice work on the deer and the perspective. That's hard to do. Beautiful work. I like that. The way you made these things feels very downhill. A great job of capturing going downhill. The rapidly shrinking perspective makes it feel like we're kind of on a mound of green, goes downhill, then we go. Really did a good job of capturing that perspective. That's nice. That's Mark's work. Thanks for sending this in. Very good. Okay. Let's go off of that. We got more. Mark sent one in. Sherry's got some. How would you paint? Oh, this is from earlier. We got follow-up context. Boy, we spent some time on fire, didn't we? That's an amazing shot. Look at that. Wow, that's so cool. And it kind of challenges we don't really see the same rising. So this is more of an explosive pattern where we're looking at the place where the fire originates. We're not looking far enough up the pattern to see where it shrinks into the air, or maybe when it's that huge, we see more of the explosive nature. We should dive into that in the future, because that's a different context when there's so much of it that you're seeing it explode outward more than upward. It's just like fireballs. I would say this has a lot of fireball effect in it. Very cool. I'll show you how I'd paint that. We'll have to do it in the future, but I'd show you how I'd paint that effect. Cool picture, though. Glad you sent that in. I won't ignore your idea. We're out of time for today, but I want you to know that that's a good contribution there. A messy, what is this word? I don't know how to say that. Streets. I've seen this word before, but I don't know how to pronounce it. Street scene. We'll just skip to street scene. Here's another one from Steve. Just in from Steve. Another street scene. Steve, your production level is off the charts. It's amazing that you whip out these pictures. True artist, my friend. Amazing. Gouache. Yeah, I think gouache. But he's got the dash in there, so gouache. All right, thanks. Thanks for that clarification. Tell me if I said it wrong. This is really beautiful work. Awesome. I like it. I like city scenes because they break away from, everyone's familiar with paintings of land, like paintings of landscape, very big, popular genre of painting. But I think it's cool when somebody does the mundane city life, like a street with cars on it. That's cool. It's cool for that to find its way into a painting. Nice work. Love the perspective. You got it dialed in, my friend. No lack of talent there. Okay, that's it for today, folks. Thank you. That's the last one we'll look at. I was so scrambled and in a hurry this morning. I hope you enjoyed looking at my bedhead for the whole duration of the live stream. Ben, thanks a lot for your help today. It was really nice.
No problem. Thanks for hanging out, everybody, and chit-chatting about this and that.
That was fun. It was another fun way to
Fun.
kill a Saturday morning.
Yep, yep.